Now today I'll walk you through the three main camera settings and lay the foundation of filmmaking. ISO is an amplification or gain of the electrical signal created by the sensor. When the sensor is capturing a small amount of light, boosting the signal will result in the image looking brighter. However, amplification or gain of the signal will always result in a level of degradation or noise. Most of my very best shots are because of the shutter. The faster shutter will capture sharp moving object, while a slow shutter will capture blurry moving objects. Aperture is just like the iris in our eyes. It can be open or closed to let more or less light into the camera. It is measured in f-stops. The more the aperture is open, the shallower the depth of field is. Your camera settings should be dictated by the shot you want to achieve, not by some rules. The best way is for you to continue to experiment with your settings to try to achieve the different results you're looking for.